toki, mi anatumu, mi wile panasona e toki pona. We hear a lot of things in our life that just don't really make a lot of sense. We deal with a lot of complex problems, and with that entails complex emotions. We have a lot to process in our daily lives. The world is complex. And even when we're able to process all these things, communicating them, putting words to all of these problems is even harder. We're young people. Oftentimes, we're very stressed out due to the fact that we're in school, we go to work, and we deal with a lot of different issues in our daily lives. Especially a lot of us deal with mental health problems that make it difficult to assess and process all of the things that we go through. And one of the ways people often cope with this problem is that we simplify these feelings, try to put them into words that don't sound so complex. One way people have found a fix for this is the creation of the language toki pona. It's not a language that's formed by civilization as we usually know. It's sort of English and Chinese were built among thousands of years. However, it was created by linguists, nerd linguists, over the last 20 years. Toki pona will show us an insight to the philosophy of simplicity in our lives. Thank you. In this speech, I would like to talk about Sonia Lang, toki pona's creation, and the philosophy behind it. Now wait a minute, who is Sonia Lang? Well, she is a Canadian linguist. In an interview with Dennis Robichaud of Radio Network 360, she's said to be fluent in at least 5 different languages as of 2007. Now, keep in mind, this interview was conducted in French and, of course, translated to English by Sonia Lang herself. She has been surrounded by the art of languages since she was a child, and it's always been an interest for her. Around the year of 2000, Sonia started dealing with depression and other very major life struggles, things that were very difficult for her to cope because she felt that it was too complicated to figure out. This all culminated to the 2001 publication of a language she made over the past 2 years called Toki Pona, and eventually a 2014 publication called Toki Pona, The Language of Good. In this book, Lang depicted Toki Pona as a form of soul searching for her to create, and as she engaged with it more, she found people that she could relate to likewise through the expression of this language. So how does Toki Pona work? Well, there's only 132 words and 14 letters in the entire language. Most of us use over 132 unique words every single day in our daily lives, communicating with each other. In the simplification process, there are many words and phrases that get dumbed down. For example, my name Autumn becomes Atumu, A-T-U-M-U, using the Toki Pona language system. So how do we reduce it down to 132 words? Well, that's because many words have different meanings. We have words in English that mean different things. For example, mine can refer to mine like talking about my own possessions, or a cave where people go mining. Well, in Toki Pona, it relies very heavily on synonyms. For example, you take the word Olin, which means love mainly. You can use that as a noun to refer to the concept of love, or a verb to love someone. But at the same time, Olin can refer to something under respect or affection, anything that would give the meaning of love. Now, the way to separate between those and differentiate to know what someone is talking about is through context. Normally, if you say Olin in reference to a partner, you could understand that as a romantic love. However, towards a family member, it would be more like a familial love. Toki Pona vocab this way is intentionally vague. Using context language, we're able to understand each other using just these 132 words. To say Yan Lili is the way to say a child. Say child is a bit too specific of a word to have its own singular word. So Yan means person and Lili means small. But Lili can also mean short or young. So it's important to have context to know what Yan Lili would be referring to in that sentence. But what's the purpose of reducing complexity? If we're having trouble in a language because of the lack of context and trying to figure out what people are saying, then what's the point in using it to try to express ourselves? Wouldn't it reduce the ability to be specific? Well, Toki Pona is not meant to be complex. Toki Pona, for example, will never be used by lawyers, doctors, or politicians. In fact, if it could, that would be great news for Big Brother in 1984, being able to use something like doublespeak to have any sort of context to whatever you say. However, simplicity has a place. B.J. Knight, an author and speaker of toki pona, explained in his book, The Simplicity of Toki Pona, that there must be precise language in things such as law, but not always our personal lives. Toki pona's name even comes down to the essence of what it is. Toki can mean language or speech. Oftentimes, people will start their conversation saying toki as a hello. But pona not only means good, but it means simple. In this language, good and simple are synonyms, and that is the true meaning of the philosophy of the language. This is what Sonia Lang preaches in every single work that she publishes about the language. The 132 words in the entirety of toki pona are the simplest form of every concept she could come up with back in 2001. Every single thing that she had written out as something that exists in the universe could be reduced to just these words in the language. Back in 2001, Sonia Lang set out with a mission to create toki pona. And through these 132 words, people have found a way to use different combinations and expressions to be able to express themselves through context and independence. And it's spoken not out of a necessity for culture, geography, or anything other than a necessity for simplicity. Learning about toki pona brings us value and understanding to how we can view the world through our very own lens and our understanding of how we see the world. Thank you.